Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so have you ever actually stopped to think about where your deepest beliefs come from? Like, really come from? The author Salima points out something pretty fascinating here. Our core views, whether they're about money, getting older, or just what we're capable of, we rarely actually choose them. Mostly, we just inherit them. I mean, check out this opening quote. Most people never consciously choose the way they see the world. They inherit it. Think about that for a second. It's so true, right? We pick up these beliefs so quietly. We literally just absorb them from our parents, our neighbors, the culture we grow up in, and we hear the same conversations repeated so often that they kind of just start to sound like hard facts. Eventually, these borrowed beliefs, they stop feeling like someone else's opinion. They harden. They just become our reality. And you can really see the stark contrast here between what we casually inherit and what we actively choose. On the left, we take on these heavy, borrowed beliefs. Things like, oh, life is just difficult, or people like us, we don't become rich. In fact, in the source material, the author actually admits she spent years believing that wealth was literally just a matter of luck. But then, look at the right side. That shift to a chosen reality is where we finally realize, wait, change is possible. I write my own story. Moving from those inherited limitations to making an active choice, that's what this whole explainer is all about. All right, let's get into section 1. The exchange. Conversations as open doors. So, how exactly do these limiting realities spread? Well, every single conversation we have is essentially an exchange of worlds. It quietly asks this underlying question: would you like to borrow the way I see the world? And honestly, we usually answer yes without even noticing. Months later, you might catch yourself repeating phrases about how money is impossible to make or how it's too late to start over. And those ideas don't even belong to you. You have just unknowingly adopted someone else's limits about age, risk, and wealth. The author shares this incredibly relatable story to really bring this home. She was chatting with a longtime friend about finances, and her friend had basically concluded that her life was only going to change if some financial Prince Charming swooped in to rescue her. Now, listening to this, the author felt this huge, overwhelming urge to just interrupt and yell, "You have to stop thinking like that." I mean, haven't we all been there? Feeling that desperate need to jump in and just fix someone's broken mindset. Which brings us to section 2, the physics of rescue. Learning to swim first. But here's the thing. She didn't interrupt her friend. Now, you might be wondering, why hold back when you see someone clearly struggling with a limiting belief? Well, because, as the author so boldly puts it, that's not cruelty, that's physics. The uncomfortable truth here is that you simply cannot rescue a drowning person while you're still learning to swim yourself. If you try to do it before you're actually ready, the literal physics of the situation mean you're probably going to sink both of you. There is a very precise, entirely non-negotiable order to doing this right. Step 1, keep your head above water. Step 2, learn to swim. Step 3, reach the shore. And then only then comes step 4, help someone else. It's exactly why lifeguards have to be fully trained before they ever attempt a rescue. There's just no alternative order that actually works. Moving on to section 3, momentum and resistance, the bubble and the slope. So the author introduces these two really vivid visual metaphors to explain exactly why arguing with someone's deeply entrenched beliefs almost always fails. The first one is the bubble. People get trapped in this mindset after decades of clinging to the exact same beliefs, and this bubble has two distinct qualities. It's thick and it's transparent. Meaning they can see you, sure, but they cannot hear you. You can argue, you can throw all the evidence and logic you want at them, and it all just bounces right off. And it's not because they aren't smart. It's because your new ideas are colliding head-on with a literal lifetime of their entrenched certainty. Which leads us perfectly to this absolutely crucial takeaway. Awareness always comes before transformation. We have to realize that change never, ever begins just because someone shouted really loudly from outside the bubble. It only begins when the person inside makes the active decision to look inward. The second metaphor is captured beautifully by a French term, une pente, basically a slope. Imagine a friend walking downhill. Gravity is doing the work for them, momentum is building. Every step is easier than the one before it. Now, picture yourself climbing that exact same hill. Every single step takes immense intention and effort. If you plant yourself halfway down to try and stop someone who has already chosen to walk downhill, their sheer gravity and momentum will take you both straight to the bottom. The source really emphasizes this. Keeping your climb going and reaching solid ground isn't selfish. It's literally the only way you survive, so you can help them later. All right, our final section, section 4, reclaiming the pen, writing your own stars. Here's the reality. People will unconsciously try to write your future using the exact same limited pen they use for their own lives. When that friend was talking about needing a rescuer, she was quietly projecting what she believed was written in the author's stars, too, simply because they came from a similar background. And that brings us to this incredible lesson. Never let someone hand you the book they wrote about their own life and convince you it is yours. You really don't need to mount some grand crusade when faced with someone else's projected fears. You just have to quietly decide to yourself, nope, not for me. Their fears belong to them. To help us actually put this into practice, the author leaves us with 4 really actionable journal prompts to take back our narrative. Number 1, trace your borrowed beliefs. Like, where did your ideas about money or success actually come from? 2, rewrite the limiting sentence someone handed you. Just flip the script. 3, honestly assess where you are in the water right now. Are you just trying to keep your head up, or are you safely on the shore? And 4, finish the sentence, "It is written in my stars that." This is all about taking active authorship of your own mental universe. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with one lingering, kind of provocative question. What is written in your stars? Remember, your story still has plenty of blank pages, and the pen is firmly in your hand right now. If you strip away every single belief you merely inherited, who could you actually become? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today on The Explainer. I'll catch you next time.